Hello, this is Julie from Love's Beginning with a blog post entitled Co-Creating the Bad Guys. You have come to realize the truth. The Way of Mastery, Part 2, The Way of Transformation, from the Shanti Christo Foundation. Let's take another look at our friends, the bad guys. This could be any guy used in the gender-neutral sense here, you envision as your enemy throughout the day, whenever you're feeling the energy of conflict with someone in thought or in the physical. It could be any person or group of people you look at, historically or in the present, and see as the ones who are the source of the problem. This means that our bad guys are often the people closest to us whenever we allow that energy of conflict to arise in thought or in the physical. We can start our bad guy exploration on the world stage, but eventually it takes us very close to home and transforms our perspective and functioning. The only reason we see and experience bad guys, and we capitalize the B and G playfully to help you see this lightly, is that ego needs someone else to blame in order to define itself as relatively good. Remember, ego is not you, and you are always innocent. Ego is not the other guy, and the other guy is always innocent. Here come the buts. But, remember something though. We're transcending the blame. We're not talking about all the good reasons there are on the surface of a life story to blame someone. We're talking about how we all embrace ego and how co-creation through the lens of chosen ego experience works. If we see how we co-create in innocence, it becomes very easy to let all of that go. The ego requires wrongdoers, and because our thinking precedes all experience, when we continually find wrongdoers in our thinking in order to take the pressure off our identity, we keep creating situations in which someone in particular looks like a bad guy. The bad guy is actually enacting our shared energies. So let's switch terminologies. The bad guy is the conflict enactor. The conflict enactor lets us know what we want by enacting it in front of us. The conflict enactor sends us a memo. Dear viewer and judger, I am showing you the energy we are embracing in innocence, and I love you very much. This drama is being enacted for your benefit. Let's rise up and out of this together, because we know how to do this now. With love, your conflict enactor and divine mirror. P.S. We're going to laugh about this at the cast party. Ego thrives on the idea that anyone is other and that anyone is condemned. Ego is just the old programming, and the more you become aware of it, the more you can bypass it in your daily life and see right through it in others. You just see through it and weaken its hold, weaken its hold, weaken its hold, until you don't defer to it anymore. This is the healing purpose of time, to return to that space where deferring to ego has died away. Here's the really interesting thing about separate identity or ego. It doesn't care if you are condemned. Its job is to sustain itself, and it does a grand job of it by finding fault elsewhere and by continually co-creating the experiences that give you reasons to find bad guys. It can also sustain itself by condemning you, however. Ego or separate identity programming, the programming you chose for the experience of it, has no problem with you hating yourself. Self-hatred is the basis of finding fault elsewhere, because finding fault elsewhere is simply a frantic scramble away from the guilt associated with choosing separate identity. When you stop blaming others and see how much insecurity and self-criticism you have been masking, it's a good reason for a party. Can you imagine the party invitation? Yes, I'm throwing this party because I have discovered how I participate in the creation of illusory drama and trauma by my habit of finding and sitting in the energy of bad guys over and over and over. When I looked underneath that pattern, I realized that I had been participating in the creation of every event where I found a bad guy, and I found the key to my own freedom. I'm so excited to face now all the energy of self-limitation and self-hatred I have been covering up by trying to find the problem elsewhere. Because this is the key to my freedom and the transformation of the whole world, I can't wait to get started. Will you come celebrate with me? What if you're still seeing bad guys and actively involved in that energy? It's all good, because every event we co-create in an attempt to prove that some of us are bad, so some of us can be good next to them, can be loved in the service of healing. In other words, all of the bad guy events we participated in creating are the opportunities to accept the healing that lifts us right out of that paradigm. Because all the bad guy illusion creating we do is done in innocence, because we wouldn't do it if we knew how it worked, we're always deserving of that immediate healing that transforms our perception. There are no exceptions to this. When we turn everything in our lives over to the service of healing and the remembrance of true identity, we can remember that when the camera is very close to events, it looks as though there are wrongdoers and those who are innocent in comparison. When you pan the camera back, though, you can see the energetic ties in which the wrongdoing is being done in the service of continuing to define the right doing. If you don't need your right doing applauded, approved, recognized, and highlighted, you don't need wrongdoers to define you either. It's a wonderful freedom that allows you to appreciate everyone and to see everything done in innocence. When we turn everything over to the service of healing, the wrongdoers become our divine mirrors that reflect back the quality of the energy we have chosen. It doesn't matter whether you are playing the role of right doer by comparison or a bad guy. You're on the same stage, performing in the same drama, because you chose it. Your choosing of it was never wrong or bad, and it's important that you understand this. The only reason you would continue to hold on to this paradigm of drama, where someone gets to be good and someone gets to be bad, is because you're very afraid that you will be punished by all the wrongdoing you participated in, even though you sometimes play the role of good by comparison guy. When you begin to see that good by comparison guy and conflict enactor play equal roles in creating the wrongdoing because separate identity needs to feed off that, you may be appalled. You mean all the time I was trying hard to be good, I was actually helping to create the events that called for my goodness? Yes, that's exactly it. There is no punishment, though. There is no fault. There is no blame. All of that belongs to the drama you chose, so it is very safe to drop the whole thing. No one is mad at you. Again, that belongs to the drama. It belongs to the soap opera. It's wonderful to see how we all bear equal responsibility for whatever happens, because it hands us the key to our own freedom. And when we decide to use that key because we know how very loved we have always been, that freedom spreads to others like the kindest of viruses. So this is the new paradigm. Wrongdoers provide us a very loving service in our awakening, and the sooner we can see this and energetically shower them with the love and gratitude we feel about rediscovering our own freedom, the sooner the wrongdoers awaken to their roles and heal in the light of the immediate forgiveness that is always available. Our appreciating them in the light of the true service they are doing for us, it hooks them up to the energetic conduit that leads to awakening, forgiveness, healing, and sharing of that healing. And when you're the wrongdoer, you're the service provider, so there's no reason not to forgive immediately and accept all the healing that is always there for you. You keep bursting up and out of this pattern, up and out, up and out, up and out, until the pattern doesn't exist anymore. Every moment of awakening from this pattern is a moment of celebration. So when you catch yourself in the wrongdoer, right-doer pattern of needing each other to perform, it's a wonderful moment for a party. You're not wrong for participating in the pattern, and you never have been. The whole thing has been an exploration of energy. You're just in the process of remembering to set the pattern down now. You will, more and more, until you're all past the point of needing the wrongdoers and the right-doers. What exists beyond this pattern? Divine will, always. Divine will is not the one bossy will that takes your free will away. As you emerge out of this pattern of struggle and needing wrongdoer and right doer to show up in your drama, you set down conflicted will intentionally because it is the energy that drives the whole need for drama that would obscure your shining and ever-present innocence and equality. You transition into differentiated and harmonic will. That is what divine will is. You don't lose the flavor of differentiation and co-creation. You simply drop the attachment to conflict and suffering because you don't require a conflicting will and separate suffering identity anymore, and you don't need to see it in anyone else. Divine will is your psychologically healthy will, and it's simply balanced. It leads to your deepest happiness. Expressed in co-creation with others, it's harmony. Your identity in harmony is differentiated, but it's never conflicted. It is always safe to set the conflict down, and we are delighted to assist you every time you remember that it's an option. It's no small thing. It's an option that grows stronger and more apparent every time you choose it until there's no more need for choice. This is what we call choiceless awareness, or peace. And because you and all others are always fully worthy, you always have access to it. Thanks for joining me.